Have you ever felt like managing your money is about as relaxing as trying to juggle flaming chainsaws while riding a unicycle? You know what I'm talking about. You read all the advice. You download the budgeting apps. You promise yourself this is finally the month you'll get your financial life together. Yet somehow, instead of feeling peaceful about money, you're more stressed than ever, lying awake at night wondering if you're doing everything wrong. Well, here's something that might actually give you hope. Achieving real money peace isn't about becoming a spreadsheet wizard or memorizing complex investment strategies. It's not reserved for people with MBA degrees or those who get genuinely excited reading annual reports. The truth is, once you understand the core principles of financial simplicity and implement the right systems, that sense of calm and control can become your new normal. And here's what's really beautiful about this journey. It's not just about having more money in your account. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with money so that it stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a tool for creating the life you actually want to live. My name is Nick, and I've spent years helping people cut through the noise and complexity of personal finance to find strategies that actually bring peace instead of more confusion. If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed by money and you want practical steps that lead to real calm, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, because what I'm about to share could transform not just your bank account, but your entire quality of life. Now, before we get into the specific steps, let me tell you why most people never find money peace in the first place. It's not because they're bad with numbers or lack discipline. It's because they're trying to follow a system that was designed to be complicated. Think about it. The financial industry profits from complexity. They want you to believe that managing money requires expert knowledge, expensive advisors, and constant attention to market movements. They bombard you with information about tax strategies, investment options, insurance products, and retirement accounts until your head is spinning. It's like trying to drink water from a fire hose. You end up overwhelmed, paralyzed, and convinced that you'll never figure this out. But here's the secret that nobody wants to tell you. The fundamentals of building wealth and achieving money peace are actually incredibly simple. They've just been buried under layers of jargon and complexity by people who benefit from keeping you confused. The wealthy don't spend their days obsessing over every financial decision. They set up simple systems that work automatically, and then they go live their lives. That's the kind of peace we're going to build for you today. Let me share something that changed my entire perspective on money. Real financial peace doesn't come from having $1 million in the bank. It comes from having clarity about where your money is going, confidence in your financial decisions, and systems that work without constant effort. I've met people making six figures who are stressed out of their minds about money, and I've met people making modest incomes who sleep soundly because they've simplified their financial lives. The difference isn't the amount of money, it's the level of clarity and control. Throughout this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 essential steps for simplifying your wealth journey and achieving genuine money peace. These aren't complicated financial maneuvers that require a PhD to understand. These are practical, actionable steps that anyone can implement starting today. And yes, some of them might challenge what you've been taught about money management. But if you're willing to embrace simplicity over complexity, you'll discover that peace of mind you've been searching for. Let's start with step number 7, and this one is going to lift a massive weight off your shoulders. I'm talking about consolidating your financial accounts. Right now, you probably have money scattered across multiple checking accounts, savings accounts, old 401ks from previous jobs, and maybe a few investment accounts you opened because someone told you it was a good idea. Every single one of these accounts requires attention, passwords, statements, and mental energy. It's like trying to keep track of 10 different conversations at once. Here's what I want you to do. Take inventory of every financial account you have and ask yourself a simple question. Does this account serve a clear purpose in my current financial life? If the answer is no, close it or consolidate it with another account. The goal is to have the minimum number of accounts necessary to manage your money effectively. For most people, this means one primary checking account for daily expenses, one high-yield savings account for your emergency fund and short-term goals, and 1 or 2 investment accounts for long-term wealth building. That's it. When you consolidate your accounts, something magical happens. You can actually see your complete financial picture without logging into 7 different websites or trying to remember which account has what. This clarity alone will reduce your financial stress by half. Plus, you'll waste less time managing accounts and more time actually living your life. Step number 6 is about creating what I call your financial dashboard. This is a single place where you can see the most important numbers in your financial life at a glance. Think of it like the dashboard in your car. You don't need to know every technical detail about how the engine works. You just need to see your speed, fuel level, and whether any warning lights are on. Your financial dashboard should show you 3 critical numbers. First, your monthly income after taxes. Second, your total monthly expenses. And third, the difference between those 2 numbers, which is your monthly surplus or deficit. That's it. You don't need fancy software or complicated tracking systems. A simple spreadsheet or even a piece of paper works perfectly fine. The power of this dashboard is that it gives you instant clarity about whether you're moving forward or backward financially. When you know these three numbers, you can make informed decisions without drowning in details. You'll know immediately whether you can afford that vacation or if you need to pump the brakes on spending this month. This single tool will eliminate more financial anxiety than any complicated budgeting system ever could. Step number 5 is going to simplify your spending in ways you never thought possible. I'm talking about automating your essential expenses so they happen without any mental effort on your part. Here's the thing about paying bills. It's not the actual money that stresses people out most. It's the mental load of remembering due dates, logging into different accounts, and making sure everything gets paid on time. Every bill that requires manual attention is a little piece of anxiety sitting in the back of your mind. Set up automatic payments for every recurring expense you have. Rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, loan payments, everything. Schedule them to come out right after your paycheck hits your account. This way, your essential expenses are handled before you even have a chance to think about them. But here's the key. Only automate expenses that are fixed or predictable. Don't automate your credit card payment for the full balance unless you're absolutely certain you'll have enough to cover it. The goal is to create peace, not overdraft fees. When you automate your essentials, you free up enormous amounts of mental energy. You're no longer carrying around a mental checklist of what needs to be paid and when. That energy can now go toward things that actually matter, like building wealth or spending time with people you love. Step number 4 is where we talk about simplifying your investment strategy. And this is where most people make things way more complicated than they need to be. The investment industry wants you to believe that successful investing requires constant attention, complex strategies, and expert knowledge. That's complete nonsense designed to make you feel inadequate so you'll pay for expensive advice. Here's the truth. The most successful long-term investors use incredibly simple strategies. They invest consistently in low-cost index funds that track the overall market, and then they leave it alone. That's it. No stock picking, no market timing, no complicated rebalancing strategies. Just consistent investing in a diversified portfolio and the patience to let compound growth work its magic. For most people, a simple 3-fund portfolio is more than enough. 1 fund for US stocks, 1 fund for international stocks, and 1 fund for bonds. The exact percentages depend on your age and risk tolerance, but the basic structure remains beautifully simple. You can set this up in a single afternoon and then ignore it for years while it grows steadily in the background. The peace that comes from a simple investment strategy is profound. You're no longer tempted to check your portfolio every day or panic when the market drops. You're not wasting time reading financial news or wondering if you should be doing something different. You've set up a system that works, and now you can focus on living your life instead of obsessing over your investments. Step number 3 is about creating what I call financial boundaries, and this might be the most important step for achieving lasting money peace. Financial boundaries are rules you set for yourself about how you'll handle money in various situations. Without these boundaries, every financial decision becomes a negotiation with yourself, which is exhausting and stressful. Here's an example of a powerful financial boundary. Before making any purchase over a certain amount, let's say $200, you wait 48 hours. This simple rule eliminates impulse purchases that you'll regret later. It gives your rational brain time to catch up with your emotional brain. Another boundary might be that you never discuss your income or net worth with friends unless there's a specific, helpful reason to do so. This protects you from the comparison game that destroys so many people's financial peace. When your friend buys a new car or takes an expensive vacation, you're not sitting there wondering if you should be doing the same. The beauty of financial boundaries is that they remove decision fatigue. You're not constantly deciding what to do in each situation. You've already decided how you'll handle these scenarios, so when they come up, you simply follow your predetermined rule. This creates enormous peace because you're not second-guessing yourself or wondering if you made the right choice. Step number 2 is something that sounds counterintuitive, but it's absolutely essential for money peace. I'm talking about building buffer zones into your financial life. Most people operate with zero margin. Their income covers their expenses with maybe a tiny bit left over. One unexpected car repair or medical bill throws everything into chaos. This is like driving a car where the gas gauge only works when the tank is completely full or completely empty. You're constantly stressed because there's no room for error. Here's how to build buffer zones. First, create a small buffer in your checking account. Instead of trying to keep the balance as low as possible, maintain a cushion of at least 1 month's expenses. This means unexpected expenses don't trigger overdraft fees or panic. Second, build your emergency fund to cover at least 3 months of essential expenses. This isn't money for opportunities or wants. This is your sleep well at night fund that protects you when life happens. Third, give yourself buffer time on your financial goals. If you want to save $10,000 this year, plan to save $12,000. This way, when life interferes with your plans, which it absolutely will, you're not devastated because you built in margin from the start. These buffer zones transform your relationship with money. Instead of feeling like you're constantly on the edge of financial disaster, you have breathing room. You can handle surprises without spiraling into stress. This is what real money peace feels like. And now we've reached step number 1, the foundation of everything else we've talked about. This is the step that makes all the other steps possible and sustainable. I'm talking about defining your enough number. Here's what I mean by that. Most people are chasing financial goals that they've never actually defined. They want more money, but they don't know how much more or what it's for. They're running a race without a finish line, which means they can never win. They can never feel like they've arrived. They can never experience true peace because there's always more to achieve. Your enough number is the amount of money you need to live the life you actually want, not the life that Instagram tells you to want, not the life your neighbors are living, but the life that genuinely makes you happy and fulfilled. This requires some serious reflection. What does your ideal day look like? Where do you live? What do you do with your time? Who are you with? Once you have that vision clear, you can work backward to figure out how much money that life actually costs. Here's what's shocking for most people. The life they truly want costs way less than they think. When you strip away all the stuff you think you're supposed to want and focus on what actually brings you joy and fulfillment, the price tag drops dramatically. Maybe you don't need the huge house in the expensive neighborhood. Maybe you need a comfortable home in a community you love with enough space for the people and activities that matter most. Maybe you don't need luxury cars and designer clothes. Maybe you need reliable transportation and quality basics that last. When you define your enough number, everything changes. You stop feeling like you're behind or not doing enough. You can measure your progress against a real target instead of an endless treadmill of more. You can make decisions based on whether they move you toward your version of enough, rather than trying to keep up with everyone else's definition of success. This is where true money peace lies. Not in having unlimited wealth, but in having enough for the life you actually want and the clarity to know when you've reached it. Here's the beautiful thing about these 7 steps. They all work together to create a system that's greater than the sum of its parts. When you consolidate your accounts, create a financial dashboard, automate your essentials, simplify your investments, establish boundaries, build buffers, and define your enough number, you create a financial life that runs smoothly without constant intervention. You free yourself from the anxiety and complexity that keeps most people stressed about money their entire lives. Remember, money peace isn't about reaching some magical number in your bank account. It's about having clarity, control, and confidence in your financial life. It's about setting up systems that work automatically so you can focus on what really matters. It's about knowing your destination and having a clear path to get there. The journey to financial peace starts with a single decision to prioritize simplicity over complexity. Most people will continue to make their financial lives more complicated, adding accounts and investments and strategies until they're drowning in confusion. But you have the knowledge to choose a different path. Your future self will thank you for the clarity and peace you're creating today. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I'll be sharing more strategies to help you simplify your finances and create lasting money peace. Until next time, keep it simple and keep building that peace of mind.